Arranging yourself, giving yourself permission to take a slow descent into practice, meaning allowing yourself to move and shift. Not entering practice rigidly, but just easing in. You let the eyes close or just let the gaze soften down the nose, down the length of the nose. Resting your eyes, resting your face. Especially if there's the urge to, taking some deeper breaths. Maybe adding a little hold at the top of the inhalation, building a little pressure, and then a long, slow release. As the system comes to settle, letting go of any control of the breath, letting the body breathe as it wants, as it needs. Noticing where the body is holding, tight or rigid, and just progressively relaxing. Which might mean a systematic scan of the body or just a random noticing. And when you notice some part of the body, just bringing a sense of ease to it and relax, relax. You could resolve the face into a small smile, turning up the corners of the mouth, inviting a warmth. Feel the belly soften and relax. And seeing if you can notice the shape of the mind, where it's holding stiff or rigid, where it's dull, heavy, or maybe it's a little frantic, agitated, anxious. So disengaging from any content, from any storyline, but dropping into the felt energy of thought, thinking. Maybe noticing the connection between the quality of the thinking and thought energy And the quality of the physical presence of the body. Is there a correlation between a stagnant or stiff or resistant body and a stagnant, stiff, resistant mind? And then let's settle into the breath, awareness of the breath in the body, awareness of the body breathing. And you could do this however you like. If you just drop in comfortably, then ignoring my instructions. Or if you want a little guidance, we could start tonight by attending to the fullness of the body breathing. So the whole body sitting or reclined. And the energy around the body. So we're tuned in to the whole of the body and the space just around the body. Begin to follow or track the sensations of breathing. On the grossest level or the most obvious level, you can tune in to the air on the upper lip and the movement of the chest and belly. And kind of the mechanics of the physical breath in and out. Noticing the floodlight awareness, that spaciousness of the whole field. So you're kind of aware of the whole of the body breathing. And simultaneously, you can attend in a close way to just the upper lip or the belly. You could become aware of the cilia, the little hair in the nose. You could feel the breath coming up into the sinuses or down into the throat. And feel a soft expansion of the ribs as the lungs expand on the inhalation. You could sense into and become aware of the muscle of the diaphragm, engaged to draw down as you breathe in. It draws down into the belly, creating the space in the lungs the air rushes into. And relaxation of the diaphragm. It draws back to relax up. The breath comes out Just pressed out. And we can attune with this spotlight attention without completely losing the floodlight effect of knowing, tingling in the hands or arms, the pressure of the seat, the legs, the hooting of the owl, the chirping of the birds. So we start at this gross level or most obvious level of body breathing, physical sensations. See if you can become aware of more subtle movement of breath in the body. So the flow of energy in and around the body, that which animates the aliveness of the body. And kind of feeling into the body like a constellation of cells, a constellation of sensations. As we settle in, as our focus or concentration develops, the breath actually becomes, the gross breath becomes more and more subtle, maybe. As it settles in, the breathing might shallow a little or become more shallow, a little more difficult to perceive. The mind settles into more and more stillness. To whatever extent you can, dropping thinking about the body and simply sensing into the presence, body breathing. Fundamentally, it's a wordless experience. Indescribable. Part of our mind alert. From time to time checking where your attention is, how your attention is. Avoiding slipping into dullness. One way that we can avoid the dullness is to pique our own interest, to develop a little curiosity. And we develop and sustain interest in the direct experience moment by moment. Curiosity can also be used with discursiveness, with a restless mind. What is the experience in this moment? What is known? Can that be okay? And once we've established some stillness, some steadiness of presence, we can investigate the types of minds that are appearing. What is the inclination of the mind? What sorts of impressions continue to come up, or thoughts that are persistent? It's like we wash our experience, we wash the conceptual experience in the steadiness of the presence. So a thought might come, or an impression might come of worry or doubt, or a little fear. And instead of holding it aside or pushing it away, not right now, I'm meditating. Could you allow it to surface, but hold it with dispassion, with an impersonal curiosity? Oh, this is a tendency of mind. Can it be okay? And we forego analyzing it, telling stories about where it came from, how it came to be, or how long it will persist. And just simply meeting it. It's a mental formation, chitta sankara. We observe it, let it linger without giving it any energy. Well, see if you can observe its release, its loosening, where we, instead of applying dispassion, where dispassion actually comes and we are released from that mental formation. It passes. And we simply rest in presence and notice what else. Not manifesting it or calling it into being. And we're not looking for trouble. So we just notice it. It could be a movement, a tightness in the chest. Could be a memory. And as it comes, allow it to come. Bring it a little close to you. Investigate with dispassion. This is what it's like. Can it be okay? See that it has a life of its own. It has an energy of its own. And see how your involvement with it, if you become entangled or passionate about it, how it shifts. Or if you apply a little dispassion, a little distance, how it shifts. And letting it linger its natural lifespan. Yeah, we're not pushing it out. We're gently curious. Seeing if we can notice its release, its dissolution, it's passing. We continue this process just leisurely, almost relaxed, sitting and working with the mental formations and impressions as they come. Offering compassion, which moves in the direction of dispassion and release. Seeing if we can observe the clinging and non-clinging of the mind itself. Everything that appears is fair game here. So the thought, any thought, how well the meditation's going, how much longer it will last, all of that falls in this category of mental formation. Sense into it. Again, not analyzing, not thinking it through, but investigating the mind's attention, the manner in which the mind holds the experience. Seeing if you can become aware of release. The cessation. Every thought you've ever had has been released. It has a appearance and a disappearance. Every impression, every sensation. Here in this practice, we are mindful of this, mindfulness of mind, with an emphasis on mindfulness of the dissolving of formations, the release, and the cultivation of dispassion. And we make our transition gradual, allowing the eyes to open, but keeping the focus, the visual focus relaxed, soften. Just simply sitting in the space of the room, sitting with body, sitting with the energy of the body. Maybe with the eyes open, the flood of thoughts is stronger. And the impressions more easily captivating us. When we start to follow, become engaged with the content of thinking. And just notice the quality of your attention. Is it light and loose, allowing the impressions to come and go? Noticing the energy of release, like clearing out a pipe so that things are smoothly flowing. They come and they go, and we're not getting stuck around them. And then we'll shift to engage in a little talking, discussion, listening, conceptual mind. And if you want to stretch and rearrange how the body is, you might do that. So Nirvana is now. Nirvana is now. What does it mean? Yeah. You see, maybe you get a sense in that meditation we just did of like touching into release. That's nirvana, this liberation. So nirvana is not a destination. It's not something that's going to happen later. It's something not a place we're going to go when we die. It's this quality of release that we were just exploring in the moment to moment cultivation of dispassion. I don't even know if that's the right word, cultivation, because that kind of implies a building up of, and this is a releasing of, a letting go. I guess we kind of have to see first, right? So Ajahn Suchito talks about it like that floodlight perspective, that that ability that we can train in with mindfulness to step back, to see more of what's going on. And this is a kind of release in of itself, right? Like where we might have before training the mind at all, we might have more easily been swept into a few hours of stress or a few days of stress, really troubled by a particular situation or series of thoughts or strong emotion. With mindfulness, we start to gain the ability to step out a little, and we see, oh, that's just one thing that's captivating me. And it might still captivate us, but we've created the capacity to view it from a bit more of a distance. So this could be kind of the start of developing dispassion, which is to hold our experience without taking it personally. Yeah, without the confusion of the self-identify, which is that constriction around the thought. Yeah, it's like a strong belief in it, strong captivation, and we're gone, right? We have no, we're helpless. There's no perspective. There's no greater context because we're so taken with the feeling and the thought. So the way he describes it is that that first ability or that first thing is to be able to step back and hold a larger space around the stress, and then to use our attention to investigate. So while still kind of holding that floodlight awareness, taking our attention and investigating the trouble. Yeah. Not on the level of what is the meaning of this? How can I fix this? How can I work this out? What are all the ways this might go? So it's not that sort of exercise. It's allowing all of that to be a part of the formation that you're investigating, right? So that wider sense that we have, that it's not personal, that it's this chitta sankhara, which means mental formation. So the mind is forming, that the conditions are there for the mind to be in this particular formation, which could be an external stimulus, somebody says something, or it could be an internal impression that we're captivated by. But then once it's formed, once the sankhara is there, we got to deal with it, right? Yeah, so our normal thing is I'm going to think it through, I'm going to sort it out, or we try to push it away, or we, medicate ourselves. I'm going to medicate it away. Yeah. And instead, it's this dispassionate, oh, there it is. Oh, there's my anger again. There's my fear again. And I'm moving towards it on the level of what is it like? What does it feel like, fear? And you see the distinction is that we're observing it without being absorbed in it. So it is something that's happening. Yeah, it's probably familiar because it's probably happened before. Yeah, what is it like? And how am I with it? Or how is it in what way is it captivating? Yeah, can I observe it? And you see, with it, if it's not supercharged and we're in a pretty steady place with our concentration, we can actually start to see the dissolution of things. We see the thought come and then we see it go, or we see the feeling come, we see, oh, it's a bit like trying to find the end of the inhalation. Like if we're concentrating on the breath and we're like, okay, I'm going to follow the full breath. Where's that moment where it stops being an inhalation and starts being an exhalation? And it's, it's kind of a matter of calling it. Like it's such a process that's unfolding. So with a thought and the dissolution of thought, it's kind of tricky to see where it ends, because if you look for it, then it keeps going, right? Like we reify it. Yeah, so to that dispassion, you just allowing things to to come and go, these mental formations to come and go in the most natural way that you can, so that you're not continuing to feed them energy. That's this dispassion, and then you see they release. So we can practice it, and we do practice it with the body if we do yoga or yoga nidra. So in yoga, and when we do shavasana, and we might do a systematic relaxation of the body, or you squeeze the fists and release them. Yeah. And then we feel into what it's like to release. So every time that we drop our shoulders, even just by saying those words, you have an experience of release, maybe. The belly, can you let the belly soften? So we can bring a curious attention to the physical release. And that's a kind of practice for then applying it to more subtle objects in our experience, like a thought or a feeling. Releasing the mind from holding it and then allowing it to go. It's going to go regardless. Yeah. All of our thoughts and feelings, they have a lifespan. They're coming and going, and it's not up to us. We get entangled, we can make them last a little longer. Like, I really want this pleasant feeling, I'm going to eat another 6 donuts. But we're kind of helpless to control it, because it eventually turns on its own, the experience of it. So the less clinging we have to it, the more comfortable the whole of it is. Yeah, and then it just becomes delightful. Oh, that again. Yeah. That's hard to fathom, right? Oh, there's my gout again. There's my kidney stones again, because the stuff that we're confronting, some of it is really intense. Yeah. When we come to practice, when we're practicing, it's good to not be in a lot of pain. It's very difficult if we're in chronic pain, or if we're having a lot of emotional upheaval. Those are really hard conditions to practice this release and recognition of, mindfulness of the mind. So we want to practice as much as we can when things are favorable for us. And if we can find our groove with it, it's actually quite enjoyable to practice. And we know that because all of you that are here, you come a lot to that. Like, you come and you practice because there's something here in the group practice and in the guided practice where we get it, and we get that feeling of release, and we kind of touch into what nirvana might be. But we really need to encourage ourselves to pursue it. Yeah, this is the only desire Buddha recommended we cultivate, the desire for the release, the desire for cessation. The idea is that we'd start to create a spiritual path for ourselves that is moving from joy to joy, and that even being with difficulty is a joy, because it's all everything is in this lens of liberation. Everything is, whether it's enjoyable or suffering, like painful, it's part of the path. And so then even, having to calm and soothe ourselves and be mindful of like a headache becomes a joy. Are you buying it? And for me, this was the big hook with the path. And it's like, at some point, And maybe this has happened for you. At some point, it's like you can't get off the path. Like you're on the path forever because everything is through this lens of how am I in relationship to my experience? Yeah, there's nothing particularly mystical about it. It's just an orientation, a shift away from, feeling like an isolated self that is a victim of a meaningless, chaotic universe to being kind of centered in feeling whole and feeling like, well, the meaning is this release. The meaning is, can I be with uh, the experience of being a conscious being, and can I dance through it? Can I remain awake through it?